Who would you be if you lost everything and everyone you ever loved? If you woke up tomorrow to find your house, all your families and friends completely gone, would you still be able to laugh and smile? The new villain in Aang the Last Airbender made me realize how not only could Aang have turned out to be just like him, but also how he reflects our struggle with hope versus cynicism in our lives. Both Aang and Togha struggle with this, but the answers that they come to couldn't have been more different. In a lot of ways, Aang is the exception to almost everything you would expect. He is the all-powerful avatar, capable of bending all the elements at will. But what makes Aang truly exceptional isn't that he's the avatar, but how he was able to stay hopeful and smile after losing everything he ever loved. With all the airbenders gone, Aang isn't only the last airbender, he's the last of his culture. All of the inside jokes, games, and ways of life that he shared with Gyatso and his friends are gone. That's why Togha as a villain for Aang works so well. He acts as a reflection to Aang, asking, who would Aang have been if he held onto his anger and loss? Togha wasn't just some simple, hungry for power villain like Ozai. He's an air nomad, just like Aang, who had lost everything because of his war. Hope versus cynicism is a classic struggle that all of your favorite stories use, and it's also one we will have to face in our lives. All of us will come face to face with events that make us want to give up and turn cynical. But the question is, how do we find hope when we've lost everything? Togha is almost identical to Aang. After being trapped in ice, he wakes up to find the world he knew completely gone. But he believes there's a way to get back what he and Aang lost. Using Sonam's staff, he could bring back his people and culture. Sonam's staff is what gives Togha hope that he can fix what the world has taken from him. Just like how chasing the Avatar gave Zuko hope that he could return back to the Fire Nation, having this goal to pursue gives them both a sense of duty, but it's also what manipulates their desires. Zuko thinks restoring his honor means capturing the Avatar to please his father. Togha thinks protecting his people means destroying everyone else who would cause harm. They both let their sense of identity become too attached to this duty and focus on this one goal without asking who would they become and what parts of themselves would they betray as a consequence. The difference between Zuko and Togha is that Zuko learned to let go of this desire, and he found his own path, while Togha let his anger control him and blind him to the truth. Even if Togha used Sonam's staff to return airbending to the world, with him only granting it to the denied, he would have never gotten back the culture and his way of life that he once loved. But the anger that blinds him to this is something that Aang also feels. Every time Aang flies into a rage and enters the Avatar state to stop those who want to hurt him and his friends, he is feeling what Togha feels. When Appa is lost, Aang nearly wipes out the Sandbenders from how angry he is. Passion, a sense of duty, and wanting to protect who you love is what gives us strength and purpose. But it can also lead us vulnerable to anger and resentment when what we love is taken from us. The deeper our sense of responsibility, our duty, and our love for something is, the angrier we are when that thing is taken away from us. The thing is that Togha is justified in feeling angry for what happened to him, but that's also what makes him so dangerous. When anger becomes the motivation for all of our actions, we become narrow-minded, lost, and unable to see a way out. Whether it's because someone hurt us, betrayed us, or we feel that there's something wrong in the world that we need to fix, we think our anger is justified because we're trying to do the right thing. But no matter the reason for anger, it can make us forget and abandon our morals and virtues. This is what happens to Togha. After witnessing the death of his fellow air nomads, he becomes the very same as the earthbenders who killed them. He justifies his actions by saying he wants to defend his people, his culture. He even kills Aang because he thinks Aang's desire to protect the other nations means he can't be trusted to protect the air nomads. His anger blinds him from the fact that as peacekeepers, all those he lost would never agree to his violence. Think about all the times you acted from a place of anger. Have you ever been proud after the fact? Felt like you acted from a place where you truly wanted? Or did you end up regretting it? Aang acts angry multiple times throughout the original series, and for good reason too. When he sees what the Fire Nation did to the air temples and his family and friends, when Appa is stolen, and every time someone threatens to hurt his friends. but he also has to learn to let go of that anger. When we hold on to anger, we let cynicism control us, and if we're not careful, we'll eventually be drowning in it. The tragedy of Togga's character is that he's not evil for the sake of having power or dominating others like Ozai, but because he thinks the only way to protect his people is to hurt others. It's what the world has taught him, that those who try to find peace will only be taken advantage of by those with power. So even though Togga wakes up to an era of peace and prosperity, the fact that all the airbenders have been wiped out proves his point, that he needed power to protect his people, that without it, the other nations and elements would take advantage of their peaceful nature. It doesn't matter that all the other nations are finally at peace. Togga sees this peace as being built upon the destruction of the air nomads, and how can he want to protect a peace for the nations that took everything from him? Togga would rather start the war he thinks will come anyways, and be the one with power this time, than wait around again for another tragedy to happen to the airbenders. How can we blame Togga for being cynical, for thinking that the cycle of violence would only continue? Even if there's peace in this moment, someone selfish would eventually come who would want to take advantage of it. But as much as being cynical feels like the truth, that you finally see the world for how it is, even if it's true, all it does is end up leading you down a road where you forget who you are. Cruel things will happen to all of us. We will come across people who just want to hurt us for no reason. But even still, we can prepare for these moments, but we can also not let them control us. Being cynical comes from a place of wanting to be prepared for these things before they happen. We got hurt in the past before, so we expect to get hurt again in the future. That way we feel like we can protect ourselves, we can protect those that we love, but we can also prepare for these things without letting them change us, without letting all of the bad things that happen to us turn us into people that we never wanted to become. Aang understands Togga's rage, knows what he lost, but what made Aang still be able to smile and have hope in a world where he lost everything and everyone? What makes Togga such an interesting character is that Aang could have easily been the same as him. If he experienced the Fire Nation burning down his temple and killing his people, would he still be the same? Togga is a reflection of every man who has been hurt by life and lost what they love. We can only experience so much loss, regret, and pain before our hope and kindness becomes twisted. But Aang shows us what we can do when the burden and pain gets too heavy. The truth is that the pain will never disappear, but neither does the love we felt either. We will lose people who mean the world to us, and in those moments when life feels unfair, what we have to hold on to isn't the pain we feel from their loss, but from the love we once felt. There's a Viktor Frankl quote that I think captures the difference between Togga and Aang. When everything has been taken away from you, your last freedom is choosing how you respond to any given situation. We can let ourselves be changed by the world. It only makes sense, right? When you get burned from the stove, you learn not to touch the stove again. These truths about life, that people will hurt us, that bad things will happen to us, and that because someone betrayed us in the past, whether it was a friend, a partner, a family member, we should expect to get betrayed again in the future. It feels so true. But the question that we have to ask ourselves when we fall down the road of becoming cynical and blaming the world for everything is this who we really want to be? It feels so difficult in the moment, but we still can choose how we want to act in any situation. And that's why Aang represents the true spirit of air. He is free-flowing, he stays true to himself, and he doesn't let anything hold him down. You can argue that it's because he's a carefree kid or that he's a cartoon character, but there is a truth in how he chooses to act that we can learn from. It's accepting that the bad things in the past have happened, that we feel hurt, that we have lost something so dear to us, but we can still choose how we want to move forward and what we want our future to look like. We don't have to become like the people who hurt us. We don't have to let this world ruin and wear down our soul. We can choose however we want to act. If we ever want to feel truly free in this world and to be ourselves, We have to learn to let go.
Aang, you will do so many great things as the Avatar, but you must be prepared to do what frightens you the most. Your people, your home. We are always with you.
We can't erase the pain of the past. We couldn't save them.
But it's our duty to protect our people.
Not at the cost of betraying everything they stood for.
No.
It's time to let go. You have to forgive yourself. I have to forgive myself too.
Air nomads are formed from the mist.
We walk the world for a moment in time. Then we return to the eternal wind.